What's your style, especially in a market like this that's pretty soft? Is it 100 phone calls a day, rapid fire, or is it 20, 25? Do a little bit of research. I mean, what's your style?
I find that a lot of organizations will say, hey, it's going to be 50 calls or 100 calls. I tend to lean a lot more on the personalization more than anything else, because at the end of the day in freight, one relationship can change everything for you. And so if you can get very deep, I think that's really important. So I'm lean much bigger on the quality, but at the same time, if you're not getting pickups and if you're just getting a ton of voicemails, well, then of course your call volume is going to be higher. But that to me, that's also the same thing where 125 calls doesn't matter, because that's going to tell me that your talk time is low. You probably asked bad questions. You were just talking about yourself. You weren't listening. And so, as much as you can, like if you could get 10 really quality calls a day, that would be fantastic, right? But it's hard to live in that world because of how competitive it is in freight. So I always lean more on the personalization, trying to drive up a little bit more talk time if you can on the phones, because to me, that's always going to indicate your behaviors of asking open-ended questions, curiosity, getting the shipper to actually open up about their information, you going through discovery and qualifying is always better. So I typically always lean more towards that, but I do think instead of just saying, hey, across the org, this is what's expected, you should also look at it from a sales rep's aspect, because there are going to be some sales reps that just have larger books and maybe a little bit more tied into operations, or they just don't have time to make as many calls. Or let's just say they're just better on the phones, right? They can get better connects. They're better when it comes to their actual open-ended questioning and, in the beginning of calls and all that stuff, to where they don't need to do that. And they can be a little bit more hands-on with their customers. So it should be, I think, a good, healthy balance. But for the newer reps, that goal should always be higher, because they're going to learn faster from more activity. But you should always be reassessing that activity at the end of each day and at the end of each week, because of how much you're going to have to say, okay, what worked well, what didn't work well. And one of the easiest things you can do is, okay, if there's a question that worked where the shipper just really opened up on the phone, document that question and ask that question to the other ones, and then just keep building on that list little by little from there.